What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, April the 14th, and that means it's time for my news radar. So after several weeks of speculation, we finally have a couple of announcements here from Microsoft on some new hardware. And let's start off here with the piece of hardware that I think probably be the more interesting piece of hardware from this grouping of announcements. We're going to jump over to The Verge for this headline. Microsoft announces Surface Laptop 4 with choice of Intel or AMD processor. So we talked about this in the past, actually. Rumors that we will be seeing AMD 4000 processors in the new Surface laptops, and that does appear to be the case. It doesn't appear to be the case. It is the case. Exactly what it is. So as I let this video play here, you're going to notice that there's not like a lot of difference, here in this Surface Laptop 4. You're getting the same sort of hardware, the same, Surface connector, the same sorts of ports and everything, the same general look and feel. Not like this is this is not a total refresh of the Surface Laptop 4. Obviously, this is a pretty small refresh. You're looking at two different models, though, 13.5 inch and a 15-inch model. Both of them will have the option to either have an 11th gen Intel processor or a Ryzen 4000 processor. And we've talked about the 4000 processors in the past. They're okay. I think all of us would have loved to have seen the 5000s in here, the actual newest ones, but it is what it is. We get what we get sometimes in life. We're going to be starting off here April 15th, US, Canada, Japan, starting at $999 for the AMD model and $1299 for the Intel version. So it is a $300 gap between the two. So maybe, look, it isn't the 5000 series AMD processor, but it is $300 less expensive than your starting price with Intel. And even though it isn't the 5000 series, the performance should be pretty similar between the two. So unless you just wear a Team Blue badge on your shirt, on your smock every day, maybe you look at that AMD version because, I don't know that $300 you're going to be getting a big difference there in performance that's going to warrant that kind of a price jump. Maybe the biggest thing that we're seeing here is a supposed 70% performance jump over the Surface Laptop 3 in terms of battery life, which is pretty massive. And they're saying that this is from improvements to these processors. So newer processors, more efficient, better battery life. They're saying 19 hours of battery life on the 13.5 inch and up to 17.5 hours on the 15 inch. Obviously, the 15 inch has a bigger screen, but there's room for a bigger battery in there. So you get a trade-off there and you get more battery life. Both Intel versions will have the Intel Iris Xe or Xe. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. I've seen people on YouTube say Xe or Z. I don't know. You tell me how to pronounce it. Apparently, Overwatch will be playable at 1080p Ultra, which is actually pretty damn good. Like, Overwatch is not a crazy, high-end game. It's more of like an esports title. But the fact that you can play it at 1080p Ultra says to me that you could get some actual gaming done on the Surface Laptop 4. Pretty cool to see. Now, we don't know exactly how that graphics performance is going to work on the AMD 4000 series. Is it going to be able to hold up to that Intel Iris Xe graphics? That remains to be seen. Looks like you can max this thing out at 16 gigs of RAM. Actually, no, there's a 32 gig model on the i7. If you want to spend, $2,400 on your Surface laptop, go with that massive amount, 1 terabyte storage and 32 gigs of RAM. So you can push this thing pretty far. And, like I've said in the past, I do really like the aesthetic of the Surface laptop. I think that it looks really good, in particular in this ice blue color. Just in general, a good looking set of laptops. So on the other flip side of the hardware announcements, on maybe the less exciting side, maybe we could call it, we have some new, just some cool stuff maybe from Microsoft, starting off with a brand new Microsoft webcam. It's a modern webcam. I don't know what that means, modern webcam. It is now, it's coming out now, so I guess technically it's modern. But I think that will make most webcams modern. Who knows? Anyways, I digress. Got a new webcam from Microsoft. And this isn't anything too ridiculously crazy. This isn't like a 4K super wide angle, it's pretty good. 78 degree field of view is wider than a lot of phones. 1080p video is fine for, Teams video conferencing and things like that. It's not going to blow your mind. but it's a webcam and it's $70. It'll work just fine. We have 2 new headsets, again, with Teams kind of in mind here. One that's USB wired with an inline set of controls, also a wireless one. And again, these are not going to be like your new gaming cans or anything crazy like that, because again, the price is not too crazy. $50 and $100 for the wireless one. Just something good, again, good for Teams and things like that, as we are in a new world where you don't go to work, you sit in front of a computer and you do it that way. Well, this would be a good companion for that. We also have a USB-C speaker, which does have a microphone as well. So if you wanted to just plug this thing in, set it on your desk, and talk into that, that is also an option there for you as well. Omnidirectional background noise canceling microphones. That's a pretty cool thing. And maybe, maybe if you're a podcaster and you're doing interviews or something, that might be like a cool option to just drop in the middle of a table somewhere to do an interview. $100 at the Microsoft Store for that. And I do also want to quickly mention a little bit of Surface Duo news. I don't think this is going to blow anybody's socks off here, but Surface Duo for business availability is expanding to 10 new markets today. This is via Windows Central. So the new markets are listed below: Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Sweden, and Switzerland. These new locations join the markets where Surface Duo is already available, which is the US, the UK, Canada, France, and Germany. So specifically here, this is the business SKU, okay? So this is not like you're going to walk into a store and buy it. This is for businesses. You have a quote here from Microsoft: across the breadth of form factors and price points available, from our largest Surface Hub to our pocket-sized Surface Duo, we remain committed to delivering innovative devices that keep people productive. To this end, we're pleased to share the Surface Duo is now available for business and education customers in additional European countries. So perhaps if you live in one of these aforementioned countries and you can get your hands on a business version of the Surface Duo, well, there you go. Maybe now you can. And I want to close this thing out today with a set of renderers, an early sneak peek at something from a website called Let's Go Digital. They do phenomenal work here. And this is of something that is near and dear to my heart. This is the apparent Blackberry Key3. So obviously the Blackberry was the Blackberry, and then it died a horrible, slow, painful death, only to be resurrected, drugged from its grave, and resurrected to produce a couple more phones: the Blackberry Key1, the Key2, and the Key2 LE. So I guess I should have said a few more phones, not a couple more phones. And they were middlingly received. Also, there was the Blackberry Priv. Can't forget that. Kind of relevant here in a moment. They were okay. They weren't great. But the Blackberry Key devices had a really great QWERTY keyboard, a physical keyboard that I still love on some level for some reason. I don't know why. But I really enjoyed the Key1. So I've been watching, because TCL made those Key1 devices, right? The Key2, the LE, all that good stuff. Well, they let the rights to the Blackberry brand go away. They said, we don't want to do this anymore. It's not working. A company called Onward Mobility in Texas said, we'll do it. And that's where this article comes from. It says here, Onward Mobility is about to release its first Blackberry smartphone with 5G support and a physical keyboard. See the first concept here. If some of this article seems weird, worded strangely, it's been translated to English from another language. So just bear that in mind. Onward Mobility released a press release saying the first half of 2021 will be releasing a 5G Blackberry Android smartphone with a physical keyboard in North America and Europe. And we have here a render created by Let's Go Digital based on best information we have about this device. And the first thing you're going to notice, there's a lot of things you might notice. I know that this keyboard does not look like a physical keyboard. It looks like it's on screen, but apparently it is a physical keyboard. I don't know exactly what's going on there. I don't see keys there. This is just an aspect of the render being made or what is going on there. But the screen is much taller. On the Key1 and Key2, your screen was truncated to make room for that keyboard, where we have a lot more screen there now. We have a triple camera here in the back, whereas the Key2 only had 2 cameras, front-facing camera there as well. I think it looks, from a physical perspective, it looks pretty good. And the reason I said that the Blackberry Priv would be relevant here is because, honestly, this just looks like the Blackberry Priv. If you don't remember, this was the Priv, right? So it had a vertically sliding keyboard. So the screen would slide down over the keyboard when you didn't want to use the keyboard. You'd slide it down, you'd slide it back up, boom. There's your full QWERTY keyboard. Well, you can see where that's kind of like a middle ground here, because it's taller like the Priv was, but the keyboard is just always there like on the Key devices. And you're talking about that triple camera. I mean, you figure we're going to get a standard a wide angle, maybe a telephoto in there. If we're lucky, probably one of them is going to be like a depth sensor or a macro. They'll do something crappy on one of those. They do double down here again that they do say that, it's got a physical keyboard. Okay, I know that doesn't look like a physical keyboard, so I'm a little like, what's going on there? They do say it's a physical keyboard. Maybe in this render, you can kind of slightly see some dividers there on those keys. So guys, I know some of you really enjoy the physical keyboards. Some of you don't so much. For me, typing on a screen is always going to be inferior to typing on anything that isn't a screen. Actual physical keys, well, to me, that's always going to be better. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this particular design. Let's pretend in our mind that the render looks like a physical keyboard down there at the bottom instead of just a capacitive area or part of the screen or whatever that is supposed to look like, because it's going to be actual keys. It's not going to be that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So guys, that is all the news I have for you today. Be sure to check back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next news radar. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.